At Chess Base India, we love good games of chess and we love youngsters. And when the two combine, it need not be necessary that the youngster is an Indian. He could be from any country. And today I'm going to show you a game played by the young Azeri talent from Azerbaijan, Aydin Suleymanli. He is just 14 years old, born in 2005, and he beat the former world junior champion and very big name in the world of chess, Parham Maghsoodloo. What was even more impressive is the way in which he beat him. So we are going to do the test grading system that you all liked the last time I did it. I'm going to give you points and we'll see how many you score. But before that, I would like to say a couple of words about Aydin. He is from Azerbaijan. He is trained by Farid Abbasov, and he is not a new name to us. He came to Mumbai in the Under 14 World Youth Championship, and I interviewed him a couple of times. You can find those interviews on Chess Base India. And he said something very interesting. I asked him, so do you plan to become a professional chess player? And he said, I'm already a professional player. And what about you? You plan to also pursue chess, or do you go to school as well? How do you do?
I'm not going to school so much time because chess is my profession. That's why
chess is your profession.
Yeah, it's more important for me.
So you practice chess throughout the day, all the day, or you do something else as well?
No, all the day.
All the day?
Yeah.
Wow. And so basically you want to become a professional chess player?
No, I think I'm a professional chess player.
You are already a professional chess player?
Yeah, I want to be just elite grandmaster.
Okay, wonderful. So his confidence and that was his positive attitude was quite apparent in that event itself. He came with a rating of around 2350 or something, and now he's 2474. I think he's going to cross 2500 very soon. So let's get into the action. This game will contain 7 points for you, and it's not just white or black that you will be thinking for just one side, but I'll be asking you questions from both sides. Okay, so let's begin. Maghsoodloo played c4, and it was a queen's gambit. Bishop e7, take, bishop f4, and here the move played was knight f6. A little bit of the explanation about this opening, which will help you in future. Black players used to play c6. Now whenever you play c6, you already start to threaten moves like bishop f5. And why is bishop f5 a threat? Because this bishop is always the problem bishop for black. You know, where to develop it is the question. So white usually gets e3, bishop d3 and stops bishop f5. But after c6, white is not in time, because when he plays e3, you just go bishop f5. And the biggest problem with bishop f5 is that queen b3 attacks the b7 pawn, when black doesn't have a good way to defend it. But when the pawn is already on c6, you can go queen b6, and I think black is completely fine. So white players began to think what is to be done, and they started to find the move g4. And this is how they would start putting pressure, saying that yes, if you go back, we can even play h4, and then if you try to win this pawn, now I can go and attack on b7 when your queen can no longer move as h4 is hanging. And so all these theories started to develop. So that's the significance of the move c6. Now black player in this game said, I will play knight f6. So white said, okay, that's not a problem, because now you've not played c6, you have not fortified your pawn on d5, you have even not could play queen b6 later in response to queen b3. So I'm just going to play e3. You cannot go bishop f5 now, because I'm going to meet it with queen b3. But Aydin said, well, I'm going to play bishop f5. Because now if you play c6, then after bishop d3, this bishop doesn't have this very nice square that it would like to go to. g4, yes, it's possible, but I'll just move my queen. Later I can push away your bishop with f3 or h3. And also e6 is not such a great square for the bishop to be on. So bishop f5 is in a way very uncompromising way of playing chess. Now if you were to play a move like knight g2, which is also possible in this position, then after castles, knight g3, bishop e6, bd3, c5, this is a normal way to play in this position, has been played several times. I think black is doing okay in such positions. So queen b3 is really the most critical move, taking advantage of this entire idea of black. And here's my first question to you: what would you play here as black? You need to think about how you would like to defend this pawn. Would you like to defend or not? And let me know your move. Okay, to all of those who came up with the move knight c6, excellent, well done. You are really getting the right spirit of the position. You have to develop your pieces, you have to play actively. If you found the move queen c8, or you're going to play something like this, not great. First of all, yes, I can take this pawn, but then you have this check and suddenly my king doesn't like to be on d1 or e2. But I can just play knight f3, and your queen on c8 is not so well placed. I don't like it so much. Also, b6 is never really a good move. If you play a move like b6, you weaken all the light squares around your queen side. Also, knight b5 is very difficult to meet now, because the knight on a6 will be sort of undefended, you know, with queen a4. So knight c6 was a good move. And now my second question. This is what I like about this game, that it's not just one-sided. There are chances for both sides. What would you play here as white? Okay, Parham took this pawn, and I don't like it because it's really giving black dangerous play. This position is not new. It has been tried in several top level games. In fact, Topalov, Kasparov have played this. Also Aronian, Kramnik have also played this, and the move that was chosen in both these games is g4. I like this very much for two reasons. First one, knight takes g4 was played by Kasparov, and when Topalov played this very surprising move, knight into d5, because after castles, I think black is just doing so very well. He has such active pieces. White king is in the center. Not great. Why not just exchange the queens? Queen d5. And I think white should be slightly better here. So therefore, you must take with the bishop. But now after queen b7, knight b4 as happened in the game, rook c1, I think that this bishop being on g4 instead of f5 gives white better chances, like than in the game. Take, bishop c7. I think white is doing slightly better than in the game. And this position is around even or slight plus for white. So g4 is definitely something I would recommend here to distract that bishop from f5. But Maghsoodloo took a pawn. Now knight b4, threatening knight c2. So rook came to c1. Of course, bishop b5 is possible, but then after king f8, rook c1, a6, good move. Bishop e2, knight e8. The queen on b7 starts to get trapped. You know, the threat is rook b8, queen a7, queen c8, and rook b7. And the queen is trapped here. So a3 has to be played, and now after this, it's a draw. This draw would be a very good result for black, because in a way, you know, black is always trying to equalize in the opening. So rook c1 directly was Maghsoodloo's choice, and here black simply castled. I really like how he's playing calm, cool. And now a move like g4 makes no sense. I can just take with the knight. d5 is defended. So in the game, queen into c7 was played. You could even play bishop c7, but after queen c8, it just transposes into the game. So queen c7, black took. I really like games where, you know, the queens are exchanged and still there is an initiative in the position. Bishop f4, and now we reach this position where black has 2 pawns less, but extreme activity. All pieces are in the game. You can see while white is passive, hasn't castled, his king is in the center. So black must start doing stuff. And here the most natural way to do stuff is to go knight e4. Now you are attacking this guy. Then if this guy is hanging after you take on c3, you cannot move this knight because of the pin here. And so here white should have played the move a3. I think it's a logical move. I'm going to not analyze this variation, because if I do so, you will get the idea for my next point in the position. So we'll come to it later. f3 was played in the game. Now knight c3, bc3, and the move g5 was played. Attacking the bishop makes sense because this is not possible. The rook on c1 is hanging. Bishop g3. And now take some time, okay? Don't be in a hurry. I think this is the most spectacular moment of this entire game. I know you are enjoying yourself watching this game, but a little bit of work would not help, would not make it worse for you. In fact, it will help you to become a stronger chess player. What did Aydin play here? This is your third point. Try to come up with the move for black. Okay, I hope that you really try to think, because if you don't think, the most natural move is knight into a2. You will be like, oh, what's wrong with this move? Well, the thing that is wrong is, first of all, white wants to develop everything here, you know, all his pieces, and once he does that, he would be fine. So rook a1 is the definite choice, and after you take comes the very nice move bishop a6. You attack the rook, and on the next move you will play knight e2, king f2, and white is just out of danger. Even he can be slightly better because black pawns is slightly weak. So for example, here you play bishop b4, which looks aggressive. I'm just going to go king f2, and now when you play rook e8, I can play knight e2, and white is just completely fine. Okay, this is what you don't want. So the main problem, as you can see here, is that after knight into a2, rook a1, knight c3, white is able to develop with bishop a6. So what did Aydin play in the initial position? Yes, a5 is the right move. If you got this move, give yourself a pat on the back, because it was not at all easy. In fact, even after seeing the move, sometimes it's not clear what's happening. Well done, Aydin. I am really, really proud. This is high level of prophylactic thinking, can only be done by a very strong player. Okay, Maghsoodloo went a4. He said, now I must save the pawn. Now knight a2, rook a1, knight into c3. And turns out that now this bishop here doesn't have a good square to go to, because a6 of course is no longer possible. So knight e2 was played here. And I think this is the point where you have your fourth point. There are two attractive opportunities here for black. I think this is where Aydin made a mistake, and maybe you can do better than him. Yeah, the two attractive opportunities are, first is bishop b4, which looks tempting, and the other one is to simply take. Now in the game, bishop b4 was played, and this is not the correct move, but if you found knight takes, bishop takes and rook c2, well done. Because now you are going to play rook b2 next, get the other rook in, and bishop b4 may be thrown in between. And I think this is a very big dangerous initiative for black. Bishop b4 was not accurate, because now after king f2, it's a nice square for the king there. Bishop c2 was played, and white has to be careful. If he loses this pawn, he will be in trouble. This a pawn is too strong, especially with this rook sitting out here. It's not going to help white's cause. So take on c3, bishop c3, and now for the fifth point in this game, where do you move your rook? That's the question to you. Where do you move your rook? Again, take your time, because as Maghsoodloo, you are in danger now. You are going to lose to a 14-year-old boy, and you have to be careful. Okay, if you found the move rook a3, that's the right one. Well done. All other moves are bad. For example, let's say rook a2 that was played in the game, we'll come to it. If you play rook c1, I go bishop d2, and after rook a1 I get in rook c3, and you will see that e3 is hanging, the other rook will come in soon, and this is quite disastrous. Why is rook a3 better? Because it doesn't allow this rook to come in decisively in the position, and if I'm given a move, if white is given a move, he will just play bishop b5 and he will be completely fine. So the important thing here is to not allow these two bishops to move out and let the rook come in. For example, after rook a3, if you play bishop b2, I will play rook a2 and I'm better as white. If you play bishop b4, I'm not going to play rook a2 because that allows bishop b1, rook a1, rook c1, and this is exactly what I don't want, this pin down here. And if I play let's say here rook a1, which is the correct move, then you can't really get this bishop out, because next move I will just go bishop b5 and be completely okay, or even bishop e2, then followed by rook c1. So black must repeat, and then after rook a3, bishop b4, we agree to a draw. So that's why rook a3 was better. He played rook a2 and Aydin was very alert. He played bishop b1, and now the point is simple. If you go rook a3, we've already seen bishop b4, rook a1 and rook c1. Well, the better thing would have been to anyway go here and play bishop e2, so that after bishop b3, rook b1, black is better, but white can fight on in this exchange down position. Rook e2 was like just blocking this bishop, then this bishop doesn't come out, blocks this rook. It looks really bad, but Maghsoodloo was hoping that at some point, if black can do nothing, he will play h4 and create some kind of threat. Now I want you to take some time here and figure out how should black continue. This is your 6th point in the position. What should black do? Here rook c4, if you found this, well done, but it's also not the, you don't get the point for just finding this move. Yes, you're threatening a4, but you should spot what Maghsoodloo had in mind, which was the move rook c2, and this was his idea in the position, that he wanted to sort of, if you take here, then take on c4, dc4 and rook c1. Okay, this was his idea. So my question is, first of all, did you spot it? And if you didn't, then here's your chance now. What would you play here as black? The final point in the game, the 7th point. Yes, bishop at e1. Discovered check, not at all difficult, but also important to not fall for this bishop c2 trick. Bishop e1, king e1, rook c2. And here now h4 was played, but rook c8, bd6, rook c3, attacking e3, hg5, rook b2, and white resigned because now rook c1 is coming in. If you stop it with king d1, then bishop a2, bishop b3, it's game over. Fantastic chess by Aydin. As you can see, such active play. First starting with knight c6, then playing his knight to b4, castling, giving up couple of pawns, getting his rook in, knight in, taking here, and I would say the brilliant point of this game, big fan of Aydin after this, is the move a5. And yes, I had told you that I didn't want to show you a variation over here, which was a3, because after knight c3, bc3, in fact the best move for black here is not to play a move like knight a2 here, but rather to play the move a5. If you take ab, then ab, activates the rook down the a file. This pawn is a complete monster. These two bishops are strong. This position is unclear. Anything can happen here. So that was this move, all all about this move a5, and then he finished off the game really quite well. Of course, here he could have improved with this idea, but he played bishop b4, and well, rook a2 was the final error. Rook a3, we could have expected a draw, but after rook a2, rook c4, and black won. So 7 points were at stake. Let me know how well you did in this entire game. How many points you scored. Please let me know in the comment section below. Yes, the video is slightly longer. It's gone on for 20 minutes, but I hope you learnt a lot and you appreciate the talent of this youngster, Aydin Suleymanli. Keep this name in mind.